All right. Hey guys, it is Sam from Aperilife. And in today's video, this is going to be a really quick one, like I say in every video. This is going to be a really quick one. I'm going to go over a couple of things that you need to know if you are trying to move to Italy, like things you need to know before you move to Italy, things you need to consider. And it's going to kind of it's going to revolve around some questions that I have been asked over the last oh my gosh, I'm going to say like 3 or 4 years since I have publicly came online and said, hey, I'm a black girl that lives in Italy, ask me questions or I'll answer questions. So it's going to be based off of that. It's going to be things that I think that you should know. Like I said, things that I feel that some people who are from North America don't think about, and some of them might sound pretty silly to you, but they're questions that literally I think people need to think about, especially considering whatever their life situation is going to be. So before we get started, ciao a tutti, I am Sam. I am a flight attendant who lives between Florence, Italy and New York City. I'm currently in my apartment in Florence. Outside today, it is a very warm 96 degrees, and we have an extreme high temperature warning here in Florence, Italy, and I think throughout most of Italy we have an extreme high temperature warning. So you probably hear my fan in the back. I really hope that it's not too loud. It is mandatory to have on. I turned it off earlier for like 2 minutes and the ice in my cocktail completely had melted. It had only been in there for about 5 minutes. Now it's just a watered down white wine. And I was hoping that the ice would last a little bit longer, and I just started to sweat. So I patted my face dry so it's not oily, and I'm here to make this video. So let's get started. All right, so the first thing you need to know that if you are moving to another country, you are immigrating to another country. So it's not just you're going to put your clothes in a bag, book a flight, and go across the world. You need to figure out how you are legally going to move to another country. Mind you, this is not the easiest thing to be done. And if you think that it is, we can speak to many of the people who've immigrated from the Caribbean, Central, South America, even from Canada, certain places in Europe and Africa that have come to United States, and they've had to be like, in order to legally be immigrate over, they've had to be like the top of their class, or they've had to be seeking asylum or whatnot. It's not something that's easy. So you need to figure out what's the legal way for you to move to the other country. It's not just packing your bags up and going over because you can afford the ticket. The next thing is that how are you going to survive while you are in that country? Specifically in Italy, you are going to find yourself making peanuts. Not enough of a living wage, not enough to survive if you do not have proper credentials to live here. A lot of places are not going to hire you under the table to wash dishes and to do all that stuff. And if they do, they're going to pay you literally peanuts. You'll be lucky if you get 50 euro for the day. It's nothing that you'll be able to survive off of. You will be living with other people. So you need to think of how you're going to be working, how you're going to have a source of income. A lot of people, they will find ways to get sponsorships or visas that will give them work here while they are here. But with that, you will have to figure out if you are going to be able to work for that company only speaking English. So that is something that you have to keep in mind. It's not like you're going to come here and work at a diner part-time until you get yourself off your feet. Italians only get paid once a month, so that's something else to keep in mind. If you are able to find a job where you're working legally, it's not the same in the States. So you have to think of how you're going to get here and what you're going to do when you do get here. The next thing that you need to take into consideration, if you are one of the people who are planning to move and you have children, how old are your children? How are they going to get acclimated into the schooling system here that matches their age? So let's say if you have a child that is 12 or 13 years old, it's going to be harder for them to move into this country and do the schoolwork and learn the language. In the States, we have ESOL classes. I'm not exactly sure what the equivalent is is here in Italy. But you have to think of that if you have children. I had a woman that messaged me, it's been like a year and a half or maybe 2 years ago, who said she wanted to move here with her two sons. And I asked her some basic questions, and she hadn't thought about any of that stuff. She hadn't taken into consideration her kids not speaking the language. She hadn't taken into consideration their housing, how she was going to work, if her children's father were going to give her the permission to move abroad with the children, and not just move, but to, if you are planning on visiting abroad, you have to get permission from the other parent, because if not, it's considered kidnapping. You have to have the full guardianship to not get the permission from the other person. So you have to take all of that into consideration. And I feel that some people know that, but not a lot of people know that. And it's something that, you need to think about before you start making La Dolce Vita plans in your mind and you think that your local situation sucks. The next thing is you need to take into consideration where you're going to be living and how much the cost of living is going to be. And if you need to change your standards in order to keep up with, change your standards in order to financially afford being where you want to live. So let's say, for example, if you are making little to no money here and you're living off of savings, you should not rent an apartment in the center that will cost you 2,000 to 3,000 euro a month, where you are just completely exhausting your savings, hoping that you'll be able to find work that might do a little bit of a dent into that rent. You need to find a place that is matching your, you need to just budget, actually. Forget matching what your income is. You need to budget what you have, how long you'll be able to survive off of your savings. If you have any passive income, maybe you're a stock trader, maybe you have your retirement, maybe you have an inheritance, maybe you're just rich for whatever it may be. You need to do your budgeting, because here in Italy right now, we do have an issue with long-term rentals, where you have a lot of people who have, especially in the larger cities where you see a lot of tourists, they have a lot of homeowners who are preferring to do short-term rentals than long-term rentals because it's more money. And even if it's more of a hassle because you have to have someone that comes in and clean and does this and does that, maybe they're considered themselves the cleaner. So they are able to save money in some way by cleaning up the apartments themselves or whatever. There are tons of people who are doing that. And if you are trying to look for a long-term rental, you might find yourself in a pretty tight spot. So where you are going to live is the next thing that you need to take into consideration or look into. And then you also, lastly, you need to look at your transportation options of the place that you'll be living in, the place that you'll be working in, and the place that you'll want to go to if you want to have a social life. Social life is really important. And a lot of people come to Italy and they do not understand that it is hard out here in these socializing streets. There are a lot of people who are opportunists. There are social climbers. They are trying to use you. Believe it or not, that happens here, especially considering that Italy is a land of gatekeepers. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And I've had the situation, and so have a lot of my friends, where you find yourself being used. And when you notice it, it's kind of strange, because you're like, what? Like, you're using me? Like, okay, I know this person, but it's so strange. You're using me. And it could be for the smallest connection, but for that person, that connection might open the doors to another person who they can get close to and move up the ladder socially, and or employment wise as well, which I've had happen. So that's something to keep in mind with the public transportation. And this is how I'm bringing this full circle, because getting a license here, especially if you're a resident in Italy, you have to, of course, take a driver's license test, which is not easy. It's not like you can just prove you can drive. You actually have to do like the driver's ed test with a person. And it's said to be really difficult. If If you are living outside of the center, you will find yourself needing to take public transportation more often. And you can just go 5 to 10 minutes outside of Florence, outside of Rome, and find yourself kind of in a no man's land. And with that, then you have to pay for taxis. Then you have to deal with long waits, or dealing with all of the elements of, the atmospheric elements that could get in the way of your social life. And hey, I have to leave early because the last bus is at 7:30, that type of stuff. So those are the things that I think you should keep in mind. This is a super quick video. I was reading some of the Italian news, and they kind of briefly went over some of these things. And I was like, people should know this. And I get asked on a regular basis my thoughts on people moving to Italy, especially as a person of color, especially when it comes to social life and things of that sort, in outings and music and all that stuff, which is a whole nother story. But I get asked so often some of this stuff, and I figured I will go ahead and make a video giving you guys the basics of what you will need if you're planning on coming to Italy and living what you think is La Dolce Vita. So anyway, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching this video. Share it with somebody who might be dreaming of La Dolce Vita. And if you have anything that you would like for me to make a video on, any topics, feel free to comment it down below and I'll get to it as soon as possible. Ciao, ciao. Have a good one, guys.